Welcome to HollyLegacy. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest video, Change. Surely I would show that I wanted this as much as he did. I certainly did. I took a deep breath. I don't know where this car is going, James said. With a small smile, I agreed. We don't have to run away from it, though. On the terrace, there was a breeze that made me cold. He immediately noticed my presence and swiftly removed his suit jacket, draping it over my shoulders. I felt safe and warm when I smelled him. He waved his hand toward the office door and said, "Come on," he said. "Let's go," in a clear but strong voice. Through the glass doors, I looked back inside. It was getting late, but the office was still busy with people going about their work. If I returned, everything would be ready for the night. I would go home, make dinner, and sit alone with my thoughts as if nothing had happened. But something had changed, and I didn't want to miss a chance for the first time in a long time. "Please let me through." "Okay," I sent my voice more evenly than I thought I would. "Come on." We went a few blocks away and found a place that was dark and quiet. Low music played in the background, and the servers spoke softly. My throat felt warmer and quieter after the first sip of James's bottle of wine. "What are we doing here?" I asked as I set down my drink. He always looked at me in a way I couldn't read, but tonight his eyes were different. He stirred his wine and looked at how the dark red liquid caught the light. "I just want to be with you where we don't have to pretend," he added. "Pretend that last night didn't mean anything." The words hit both of us hard and didn't move. When I opened my mouth to speak, I would rather not be careful or think about every word before I spoke. As I let out a breath, he looked at me with a look of relief, or something more serious. We spent hours discussing our relationship instead of work or obligations, and I told him things I hadn't said in years, like how I had put my career first, and how I had convinced myself that love, passion, and connection were only for people with lots of time. He paid close attention, and when I finally stopped talking, James reached across the table and lightly touched my fingers. His words, "You're not alone," made sense to me. It was quieter in the city when we left the restaurant. The streets were lit up with soft orange street lights, and the only sound we could hear was the sound of cars. We walked for a while because we weren't ready to leave yet. He stopped and looked at me while we were at a crosswalk. There was a soft voice that said, "I would rather not rush this, but I also don't want to act like it doesn't matter." My heart was pounding rapidly. I let out a short laugh as the city whirled around us. For a moment, it seemed like we were the only two people in the world. Then I took a step closer to James without planning or giving it too much thought. I finally let myself feel the kiss when his eyes met mine. People are surprised by stories about Rick Harisson, who is a well-known face on the TV show Pawn Stars. The rumors spread quickly and shocked many people. Rick, also known as Richard Harisson, received a life sentence in prison. He is known for being a smart businessman and an expert in antiques trading. The famous Las Vegas pawn shop has seen Rick as its heart and soul for many years. But now, things seem to have gone in an entirely different direction. The show Pawn Stars has a lot of fans because it shows the interesting world of antique trading, where rare items are bought and sold and tense negotiations happen all the time in strange situations. But now, instead of dramatic negotiations, the name Rick Harisson shows up with a dark and strange situation. What really happened is that Rick is in big trouble with the law, as was said. Let's look into this case in more depth to make things clear. Richard Harisson, who is also known as Rick Harisson, is an American businessman and TV figure who was born in Lexington, North Carolina, on March 2, 1965. Rick's life had many ups and downs before becoming a familiar face on Pawn Stars. When he was only 2 years old, his family moved to San Diego, California, where he spent most of his childhood. However, Rick's childhood was not easy. When he was 8, he was diagnosed with epilepsy, which forced him to skip school often and spend most of his time reading. It was these years of studying that helped him build up a huge knowledge of history, a factor that later became a powerful weapon in his career. The battle with illness forced Rick to leave school in his second year of high school, but instead of seeing it as a failure, he turned it into motivation to educate himself, especially in the fields of business and history. The pawn shop journey. As a teenager, Rick began working with his father, Richard Benjamin Harisson, aka the Old Man, on various business ventures. This helped him develop an early ability to assess the value and authenticity of items, skills that would later become the foundation of his success. At the age of 17, Rick's girlfriend Kim got pregnant, which led to their marriage. They had 2 sons, Corey and Adam, but in 1981, after 8 years of marriage, they decided to split up. When Rick's family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, his father started the gold and silver coin shop. By 1989, the shop had changed its name to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which would become the main setting for Pawn Stars. The early years were tough. Rick and his dad had to deal with rude customers and dangerous situations. Rick's extensive knowledge of collectibles and historical items made him famous in Las Vegas in the early 2000s. He began brainstorming a reality TV show about his pawn shop's daily activities, realizing that pawnbroking could be fun, despite his first attempts being rejected. Rick wasn't scared.